I'll be speaking about, will robotics be the need of the hour in THR? A lot of these points have been covered by Dr. Winsky, the wonderful talk that he has given, but I'll be speaking about the Mako robot, which is already being used for the hips. As I mentioned yesterday, the hip had come before the total knee. So as you all know, THR is one of the most successful procedures. Evolved a lot since Sir John Charnley's low friction arthroplasty. There's been many advances already, like implant designs, materials, different coupling options, and of course the latest innovation is robotics. Right? But why? THR is the forgotten joint, has uniformly great results, good forgotten joint scores. The surgeon feels that he can do no wrong. Most hip surgeons look like this, walk around like Superman. But then when you start thinking about it, there are too many variables in a hip. There's anteversion, there's inclination, there's a cup sizing, femur sizing. So if you really start thinking about it, there are a lot of different things that can go wrong in component malposition. Excessive version can cause anterior dislocation, retroversion can give posterior, etc. Then you start to feel a little worried. So your Superman status starts to come down. Then you think even deeper. Then you realize that you need to think about cup depth, the height, the bone stock, the limb length discrepancies, and the offset. And then you realize that there are so many different things that can go wrong if you have high center of rotation, low center of rotation. And then this is what the hip surgeon ends up looking like. So we know that improper cup positioning can lead to many things: impingement, restricted ROM, wear and loosening, dislocation, and all these things. And and we need to try and as far as possible to reach these parameters that we have set for ourselves, like ankyloversion and inclination. And acetabular component, the studies show almost 50 to 75% are outside the target zone, and femoral component around 20 to 30%. These are all the studies showing how accurate we can be with conventional THRs. And tools for optimum cup positioning, presently we have intraoperative tools like the TAL, and we can use the templating as well. But the TAL is not always consistent. It can be slightly retroverted and it may not always be there. If you think about it, there's a lot of planning and tinkering that has to be done. But what if you can address all of these issues in one single go? So that's how this robot really helps. It reduces the amount of stress and the amount of variables that come into play. So just a brief video of how we do it. This is, the CT scan is taken. Again, it's a CT based one. And it gives you a real life model of the patient's anatomy. And you can see exactly where are the defects, where is the good bone stock beforehand, before entering the OT. And after that, you have to do your registration, as I mentioned yesterday. So this is going to help map the CT scan onto the patient's real-time anatomy. And this helps to make sure that your accuracy is 100% every time. So this is for the femoral neck. We don't usually do the femoral neck with the robot. We do our acetabulum completely with the robot. So there are two workflows, enhanced and express workflow. And then in the acetabulum again, you can take all your points. I'll just skip to that part. I will be showing all of this in the video as well. In the surgery as well. And then you do your ream and you put in your cup. Okay, so the OT layout, the surgeon is on, I'm a posterolateral surgeon, supine, in a lateral position. The robot comes on the contralateral side and the console stays on your side. The camera is on the head end. Okay, so the brief workflow, as I mentioned, the pre-op planning, the landmarks are placed, the arrays are placed in the iliac crest. Then we have to do your registration of the points. A ream is done, it's a single ream. Whatever you've planned, you just do one size reamer down. Then you do a femoral presentation, do your trial reduction, and then you get your reduction results about your length and your offset. Everything is told to you by the robot. So if you go into a little bit more depth, the implant planning, what exactly is it? So we have moved now from 2D manual planning to a 3D model based planning, because all these days we've been taking a 2D film of a 3D anatomy. Now we don't do it, we're actually getting the 3D anatomy of the patient. And so let's just take this particular case as an example. You have the right hip over here, which is arthritic. So your first thing that you get, the first information is you get a 3D reconstruction. It's going to tell me that I'm 3 millimeters shorter than the other side, and my combined offset, the distance from the LT to the center, is 6 millimeters reduced from the opposite side. So then you do a bit of playing around. What do you think your cup size? If I put a 44 cup with a 32 head, a size 2 stem with a 127 neck, and a neutral head, I'm getting equal lengths, and I'm reducing my the difference between my offset to almost 2 millimeters. So this is all done before I've even entered the OT. Then you take the CT view of this. You take all the 3 planes. You can plan your cup size, seeing it matching the ventral line nicely. You can check in the sagittal view and the coronal view as well that there's a nice AP fit and a superior inferior fit. You can determine your inclination and anteversion depending on what you're more comfortable with and how your anteversion of the native patient looks like. You can medialize the cup if you need to. If you think that it's too lateralized, you can medialize as much as you need to. And then you get a nice picture like this. You can also decide whether you want to restore the center of rotation. The pink is the native center of rotation, and the green dot is where you have getting your center of rotation after medializing. This is just a rotated view of the same thing. And then you go into your femoral sizing. You can see the stem size. This definitely changes. So you may ask me, does it take into consideration the soft tissue balancing? It does not. It just gives you a basic idea. So once you have put in your cup, you trial your stems and still go the normal way, where you check the abductor strength and everything. So this is showing me that a 2-size femur is fitting nicely. It's showing me that my femoral version is 15 degrees. Okay, and gives you a pre-op visualization of the post-op X-ray. It tells you that this is what your X-ray should look like if you go with these particular implants. Mind you, this is all before I've even stepped into the OT. So we've spoken about the planning, the landmark placement, the arrays, and now the registration, how it's done. So you have an initial registration. These 3 major points have to match exactly to what is there in the anatomy of the patient. And this has to be spot on because it's going to tell the robot the actual orientation of the patient. So you get the correct posterior, correct anterior, and correct superior point. So it's always better if your product specialist puts these points on an osteophyte or next to an osteophyte. So it's easy for you to locate intraoperatively. After that, you have to do 40 points on the acetabulum. And you have to make sure that these points, your probe is reaching down to the depth of the bone. You have to pierce through the cartilage and reach the proper bone. And after these 40 points are taken, unless you're 0.5 millimeters within your range, it's not going to let you go through. So this is a fail-safe mechanism. Then the reaming is the best part of this. It's a single ream. So once you have decided that this is the particular cup I'm using, this is the position, this is the ankylation introversion, you get your robot in, press the handle, and it auto-aligns. It brings you near the cup. Okay, so this is my robotic arm bringing in. And then it will be a single ream. So once I've registered my robotic arm to the robot, it tells me that this green area is what has to be reamed out. So here you get a funnel haptic. It's still going to allow me to move around as much as I want to outside a particular cone. Outside of that cone, it's going to shut off, and I just start reaming over here. I'll just need another 30 seconds maybe. And you see, it's telling me that I need to go a little more superior, little more medial. And now you see, as I'm reaming slowly, that green disappears. And it's a single ream. I decided on a 44 cup. I just take a 43 reamer, and we're done with the reaming. Okay. And then the cup impaction also, it helps me. Here it locks in a linear haptic. So once I've decided that this is where I want it, I just lock the robot. It makes sure the arm locks into position. It doesn't let me move out of that lock. And then I just keep banging in. Note this number over here, the distance remaining. It's going to tell me how many more shots I need to hit for the cup to reach the bottom, right? And it's going to prevent any shattering of the medial wall. You can see now it's 5 proud. Now after I bang it again and recapture, it's now come to 2 proud, and I hit it one more time, capture again, 1 proud, and last time it'll hit it, capture again, and I'm right there where I want to be. Okay, so that's about the cup impaction. After that, it's going to tell me whether, after that, it's going to give me a reduction results. After we've reduced your implants, it's going to tell me what was planned 40-20 and what we actually got 40-20, which is almost always identical. We have a way to recapture this. You have these concentric circles in the cup. You take the probe, take 5 points on the concentric circle. It's going to tell me exactly what antiversion, what inclination I got. Here, 39 degrees and 20 degrees is what we got. Okay, we already know what the X-rays are going to look like. This is the pre-op X-ray, the 3D reconstruction, pre-op visualization of the post-op X-ray, and this is what the post-op X-ray looks like. What about the procedure time? I mentioned this yesterday. All the registration time is offset by the fact that we're doing a single ream and a single impaction without any trialing of the cup. What it means for the patient: reduced surgical time, blood loss, unparalleled accuracy. We restore the limb length, smaller incisions, and reduce trial and error and subjective feel. Future, as even Dr. Owinski was saying about the spinopelvic impingement, the new software update is going to give us about hip impingement. It's going to tell us if we're impinging in any direction. It's going to adjust for abnormal spinopelvic anatomies, and it's going to help us assess the combined version of the implants as well. Just 2 cases. This is the pre-op visualization of a bilateral case. See how identical we can get our results. A dysplastic hip, it's going to tell us where our best bone stock is beforehand. So we managed to match that without having too much of complication. It helps us in these kind of cases where you have implants in situ. You get to plan out beforehand, and gives you 3D anatomy. You plan your cup, making sure it's not hitting anything. And this is what a post-op X-ray look like. Even this patient, I would have probably thought of removing that plate if you done manual way. But with the robotic, we managed to bring the cup down and found there's still very good bone stock and still good limb length, and we managed to get away without removing that plate. Not going to go into the depth of these because we're out of time, but all these papers are showing that there's much better improvement in the accuracy of the component placement with robotics. Thank you.
you.